The American people want to know, is Elmo now, or has he ever been, a member of the Communist Party of the United States? A yes or no?
No.
Now, are you sure, Ms. Kruger? Because he's obviously red.
Well, he is a puppet, but no.
Now, that's not all. He also has a very dangerous message about sharing and helping each other. He's indoctrinating our kids that sharing is caring. Now, maybe he's part of a major socialist plot, and maybe that's why the chairwoman is having this hearing today. But let's talk about somebody else. Let's talk about Cookie Monster. Now, we know that Health Secretary RFK Jr. is coming out against fast food and baked goods. Are we silencing pro-cookie voters? Yes or no? Ms. Kruger.
But cookies are a sometime food.
Well, thank you. Now,
Donald Trump continues to suffer daily losses in court, in the court of public opinion, and in Congress. He turns to the only thing he thinks he has left, which is intimidation. Donald Trump thinks he can make us too afraid to speak out. He thinks he can threaten anyone who seeks to push back against the illegal actions of his administration, but it is backfiring, especially with the press. We are seeing journalists who Donald Trump has worked tirelessly to suppress fighting back now more than ever. And the most recent example of that comes from the journalist Donald Trump. Might have attacked and threatened the most during his administration. That person's going public. It is making Trump and MAGA furious. We're going to get into it all. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already, and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really does mean a lot to me now. Before we get into this public denunciation of Donald Trump and his attacks on the free press that we saw, I want to start with some context on those attacks. Donald Trump going after 60 Minutes.
We have to get to honest elections. We have to go back to paper ballots. We have to go back to voter ID. One-day election ideally, or short term, not these 48-day and 61-day elections where boxes are put in a room and, oh, let's move the boxes because we're putting in a new air conditioning system. Then you see the boxes move and then you say, well, where are all the boxes? You know, what happened to the boxes that never came back? Now, our elections are extremely dishonest. We're the only country in the world that has mail-in voting and all of these different things that we put in. No other country in the world has it. You know, France went to, they had some of the things that we had, and they went to same-day voting, all paper. And you know, paper is very sophisticated now. It's a very sophisticated form of voting right now. It's a very safe form of voting. You know, the other things for the governors, I wish the governors would do it, because the paper ballots will cost 9% of the machines, and they're 100%. You know, nothing's foolproof, but they're as close as you get.
And it is not just crazy rants during cabinet meetings. Donald Trump also recently posted almost every week 60 Minutes, which is being sued for billions of dollars for the fraud they committed in the 2024 presidential election. With their interview of presidential candidate VP Harris mentions the name Trump in a derogatory and defamatory way. But this week's broadcast tops them all. They did not. But two major stories on Trump, one having to do with Ukraine, which I say is the war that would have never happened if the 2020 election had not been rigged. In other words, if I were president. And the other story having to do with Greenland, casting our country as led by me, falsely, inaccurately, and fraudulently. I am so honored to be suing 60 Minutes, CBS Fake News, and Paramount over their fraudulent, beyond recognition reporting. They did everything possible to illegally elect VP Harris, including completely and corruptly changing major answers to interview questions, but it didn't work for them. So of course, not only is Donald Trump suing 60 Minutes, but he is claiming that they are breaking the law, saying that their journalists personally should be investigated. He's trying to go after them. He is trying to silence them. He is trying trying to suppress their voices. He is trying to suppress their work. But a good journalist would not let that stop them. And that is exactly what we saw from Scott Pye, who spoke out at a commencement address against Donald Trump, against this attack on the free press, encouraging students to speak out, to do this important work. And it's driving MAGA crazy. So before we get to their meltdown, I want to hear these inspiring words.
But in this moment, this morning, our sacred rule of law is under attack. Journalism is under attack. Universities are under attack. Freedom of speech is under attack. And insidious fear is reaching through our schools, our businesses, our homes, and into our private thoughts. The fear to speak in America. Power can rewrite history with grotesque, false narratives. They can make criminals heroes and heroes criminals. Power can change the definition of the words we use to describe reality. Diversity is now described as illegal. Equity is to be shunned. Inclusion is a dirty word. This is an old playbook, my friends. There's nothing new in this.
This is exactly the type of fight we need right now. We have to be unafraid in this moment. We have to be stepping up and sounding and being strong against Donald Trump. And this administration, intimidation is all they have left. They continue to lose in court. They continue to lose support. We need to take this moment into our own hands and demonstrate the agency that we have. And clearly, MAGA understands that we have it because they're doing a little bit of a freak out right here. MAGA erupts over 60 Minutes correspondent's viral warnings about Trump. The MAGA faithful lashed out at Scott Perron, CBS reporter, delivered a thinly veiled attack on President Trump during a commencement speech speaking to the graduating class of North Carolina's Wake Forest University. The 60 Minutes correspondent warned that freedom of speech is under attack and that insidious fear is creeping into schools, pro-Trump podcaster Scott Adams added, liberals who once controlled speech and power to censor are now upset that a majority of Americans reject their lies and deception. 60 Minutes is Scott pragued at Trump in an angry, unhinged commencement at address at Wake Forest as he openly and as he speaks openly and freely in America. Wait a second. So MAGA is telling me that the president who is trying to sue every news outlet who reports truthfully and accurately about the illegal activity of his administration. Well, we see this most recently with The View, a daytime talk show. Donald Trump and Carolyn Levitt also are going after trying to sue them, trying to intimidate them, and the bosses over at that network, ABC, are now telling The View host to quiet down the Trump attacks, which I thought this was America, MAGA. I thought we had free speech. I thought the left was in control of it all. No, it's you. The hypocrisy is just so blatant. They want to go after anyone who does not exactly fall in line with everything that they believe and everything that they once said. And that's not just people that they'll go after. They'll also go after Muppets. Let's not forget about the attacks on NPR and PBS. I'm certainly not going to, especially with Fox attacking Kermit the Frog lately. And that's why I want to check out this Robert Garcia clip again. I think it's important.
The American people want to know, is Elmo now, or has he ever been, a member of the Communist Party of the United States? A yes or no?
No.
Now, are you sure, Ms. Kruger? Because he's obviously red.
Well, he is a puppet, but no.
Now, that's not all. He also has a very dangerous message about sharing and helping each other. He's indoctrinating our kids that sharing is caring. Now, maybe he's part of a major socialist plot, and maybe that's why the chairwoman is having this hearing today. But let's talk about somebody else. Let's talk about Cookie Monster. Now, we know that Health Secretary RFK Jr. is coming out against fast food and baked goods. Are we silencing pro-cookie voters? Yes or no? Ms. Kroger.
But cookies are a sometime food.
Well, thank you. And now, I agree with you, and let's also talk about the most important, maybe, character on Sesame Street. This is actually Big Bird. Now, Ms. Kroger, since Elon Musk actually fired USDA workers who have been working on the bird flu, does it make sense to also fire Big Bird? Yes or no?
We would like to keep Big Bird.
I completely agree with you. And now it gets even worse. Now, this is actually a tweet that Big Bird actually sent out about the COVID-19 vaccine, encouraging folks to actually get their vaccination, which, of course, we believe in vaccines. Now, perhaps the reason why we're having this hearing is because our chairwoman, Ms. Green, has actually said some really negative things about getting vaccinations. And that perhaps is why we are here. And so we support Big Bird being pro-vaccine and promoting vaccines across this country. Now, I will admit, though, the extreme liberal agenda that you're all pushing, I think, doesn't stop there. This, of course, is Bert and Ernie. Now, these two guys actually live together. They're friends. They're supportive of each other. Now, that might be triggering to our chairwoman and someone in this committee, and perhaps that's also why we're here today. Ms. Kroger, an important question. Are Bert and Ernie part of an extreme homosexual agenda?
No.
Thank you, Ms. Kroger, and thank you for being a good sport. Now, I'm obviously using some humor here, but the fact that we're sitting here today talking about defunding public television is actually not funny. At a time where we can't agree on basic facts, and while the free press is under attack, we need public media like PBS and NPR more than ever. A large majority of Americans say they trust PBS. And that's exactly why extremists are trying to tear it down. Public broadcasting is a tool for education, for emergencies, and a cherished part of our national fabric. We get huge benefits from a tiny federal investment. The majority and our chairwoman should drop this attempt to silence media voices they don't like. So the message, I think, today is very, very simple. If we're going to get rid of any puppeteers, we should get rid of the one that's actually controlling Donald Trump. Fire Elon Musk and save Elmo. And with that, I yield back.
This is MAGA. This is what they do. They are willing to go after anything. I guess, puppy dogs and ice cream are probably next, all things considered, that doesn't immediately capitulate or serve Donald Trump. If he can't, extort a couple of dollars through his meme coin, if he can't get whoever runs a news organization to praise him, yeah, of course he's going after MAGA. It does not stand on the side of freedom. These are people who talk down at you. J.D. Vance is the most finger-wagging BSER on the planet. Let's get things straight. Let's call him now. We're certainly going to be doing so on this show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. Leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.